Mia looked up at him, her eyes shining with a love and gratitude that took his breath away. "Thank you," she said, her voice filled with a quiet reverence. "Thank you for fighting for us, for loving us, for giving us a family." As they made their way out of the courthouse, hand in hand, Nicholas knew that their journey was far from over. There would be challenges and obstacles ahead, moments of doubt and fear and uncertainty. But as he looked at Mia, her face filled with a joy and peace that he had never seen before, he knew that they would face those challenges together, united by a love that had been forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the strength of their bond. And so, with hearts full of hope and eyes fixed on the future, Nicholas and Mia stepped out into the sunlight, ready to embrace the new life that lay ahead. A life filled with love, laughter, and the unbreakable ties of family. In the days following the momentous court decision, Nicholas and Mia found themselves settling into a new rhythm, a sense of permanence and stability that had once seemed like an impossible dream. With the legal battle behind them, they could finally focus on building the life they had always longed for, a life filled with love, laughter, and the simple joys of family. For Mia, the change was both exhilarating and overwhelming. After years of uncertainty and fear, of never knowing where her next meal would come from, or where she and Lily would lay their heads at night, the promise of a forever home was almost too much to comprehend. There were moments when she would find herself staring at Nicholas, her eyes wide with wonder and disbelief, as if waiting for the illusion to shatter and the cold, hard reality of the streets to come crashing back in. But every time Nicholas would meet her gaze with a smile, his eyes filled with a love and reassurance that never wavered. "It's real, Mia," he would say, his voice soft and steady. "This is your home now, and nothing will ever change that." Slowly but surely, Mia began to let herself believe, to embrace the love and security that Nicholas offered so freely. She threw herself into her studies, determined to make the most of the opportunities that had been denied to her for so long. She joined the school choir, discovering a passion for music that filled her heart with joy and her days with purpose. But perhaps the most profound change was in her relationship with Lily. No longer burdened by the constant fear and responsibility of keeping her sister alive, Mia was free to simply be a child again, to revel in the simple pleasures of playtime and imagination. Nicholas watched in awe as the two girls blossomed before his eyes, their laughter ringing out through the penthouse like the sweetest of melodies. He marveled at the resilience of the human spirit, at the way love and stability could heal even the deepest of wounds. But even as they settled into their new life, Nicholas knew that the scars of the past could never be fully erased. There were nights when he would wake to the sound of Mia's screams, her small frame thrashing in the throes of a nightmare. He would rush to her side, holding her close and whispering words of comfort until the terror subsided and she drifted back to sleep in his arms. On those nights, Nicholas would lie awake, his heart aching with the knowledge of all that Mia had endured. He wished that he could take away her pain, that he could erase the memories of hunger and fear and loneliness that haunted her dreams. But he knew that healing was a journey, a path that Mia would have to walk in her own time and in her own way. All he could do was be there for her, to offer his love and support, and to create a safe haven where she could find peace and solace. As the weeks turned into months, Nicholas and Mia found themselves settling into a new kind of normalcy, a life filled with the ordinary joys and challenges of family. There were soccer games and school plays, bedtime stories and Saturday morning pancakes. There were arguments and reconciliations, laughter and tears, all the messy, beautiful chaos of life lived fully and without fear. And through it all, Nicholas and Mia grew closer, their bond deepening with each passing day. Mia began to open up to him in ways she never had before, sharing her hopes and dreams, her fears and insecurities. Nicholas listened with an open heart, offering guidance and encouragement, and marveling at the strength and wisdom of this remarkable young girl. For Nicholas, the journey of fatherhood was both exhilarating and humbling. He had never imagined that he could love another person so deeply, so fiercely. He had never known the joy of watching a child grow and learn and discover the world anew. But even as he reveled in the wonder of it all, Nicholas couldn't shake the feeling that there was something missing, a piece of the puzzle that had yet to fall into place. It wasn't until one quiet evening as he sat with Mia and Lily on the couch, reading a bedtime story, that the realization hit him with a force that left him breathless. This was his family, the one he had been searching for all his life. This was the love and belonging he had always yearned for, the sense of purpose and meaning that had eluded him for so long. And as he looked at Mia and Lily, their faces softly illuminated by the warm glow of the bedside lamp, Nicholas knew that he would do anything to protect this precious gift, to nurture and cherish it for all the days of his life. For in the end, he knew, this was what mattered most. Not the trappings of success or the accolades of the world, but the simple, profound joy of loving and being loved in return. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and a soul at peace, Nicholas Ashford held his daughters close, marveling at the miracle of second chances and the transformative power of love. As the golden leaves of autumn gave way to the icy chill of winter, Nicholas and Mia found themselves settling into a new kind of routine, a life filled with the warmth and comfort of family. The penthouse, once a stark and impersonal space, now hummed with the energy of laughter and love, the walls adorned with the colorful artwork of Mia's budding creativity. But even as they reveled in the joys of their new life together, Nicholas couldn't shake the feeling that there was a storm brewing on the horizon, a shadow of the past that threatened to cast a pall over their hard-won happiness. It began with a phone call, a voice from a life he had long since left behind. His ex-girlfriend, the one who had so vehemently opposed his decision to take in Mia and Lily, had resurfaced, demanding to know why he had thrown away their future for a pair of street urchins. Nicholas listened in stunned silence as she ranted and raved, her words dripping with venom and disdain. He had known that she would never understand his choice, that she could never see beyond the surface of things to the love and beauty that lay beneath. But even as he fought to keep his composure, to respond with the grace and dignity that had become his hallmark, Nicholas couldn't help but feel a flicker of doubt, a nagging sense that perhaps he had bitten off more than he could chew. It wasn't until later that evening, as he sat with Mia at the kitchen table, helping her with her homework, that the true impact of the phone call became clear. Mia, usually so focused and engaged, seemed distracted and withdrawn, her eyes clouded with a sadness that Nicholas had never seen before. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" he asked gently, setting down his pen and reaching out to take her hand. "You know you can talk to me about anything, right?" Mia looked up at him, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "I heard you on the phone earlier," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I heard what she said about me and Lily, about how we ruined your life." Nicholas felt his heart clench in his chest, a wave of anger and protectiveness washing over him. He took a deep breath, fighting to keep his voice steady and calm. "Mia, listen to me," he said, his eyes locked on hers. "You and Lily are the best thing that has ever happened to me. You didn't ruin my life. You gave it meaning and purpose. You filled it with love and joy and laughter. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world." Mia nodded, a single tear slipping down her cheek. "But what if she's right?" she whispered, her voice trembling with fear. "What if we're just a burden to you, a mistake that you'll regret someday?" Nicholas shook his head, his heart breaking at the pain and uncertainty in Mia's eyes. He reached out and pulled her into his arms, holding her close as she cried, her small frame shaking with the force of her emotions. "You are not a mistake, Mia," he said fiercely, his voice choked with emotion. "You are a gift, a precious treasure that I will cherish forever. And no matter what anyone else says or thinks, I will always be here for you, always love you, always fight for you." As he held her close, whispering words of comfort and reassurance, Nicholas knew that this was just the beginning, that there would be many more challenges and obstacles to come. But he also knew that he would face them all with a fierce and unwavering love, a love that had been forged in the crucible of adversity and tempered by the strength of their bond. Over the next few weeks, Nicholas and Mia worked to navigate the complexities of their new reality, to find a way forward in the face of the doubts and fears that threatened to tear them apart. They talked openly and honestly, sharing their hopes and dreams, their fears and insecurities, and slowly but surely, they began to heal, to build a foundation of trust and understanding that would carry them through the storms to come. And as the winter gave way to the promise of spring, as the city began to thaw and bloom with new life, Nicholas and Mia found themselves growing stronger and more united with each passing day. They laughed and played and dreamed together, reveling in the simple joys of family and the unbreakable bond that had brought them together. For Nicholas, the journey of fatherhood had become a sacred calling, a mission that he embraced with every fiber of his being. He knew that there would be challenges and setbacks, moments of doubt and fear and uncertainty. But he also knew that he would never give up, never stop fighting for the love and happiness of his precious girls. And so, with hearts full of hope and eyes fixed on the future, Nicholas and Mia stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they had each other, and that nothing could ever tear them apart. As the first tender shoots of spring began to emerge from the frozen ground, Nicholas and Mia found themselves embarking on a new chapter of their lives, a journey of healing and self-discovery that would test the strength of their bond and the depth of their love. For Mia, the process of opening up about her past was a daunting one, a path fraught with pain and fear and uncertainty. She had spent so long hiding her scars, burying her trauma beneath a facade of strength and resilience, that the thought of letting someone else see her vulnerabilities was almost too much to bear. But Nicholas was patient and understanding, his love a steadfast anchor in the storm of her emotions. He listened without judgment, offering comfort and support as she haltingly shared her story, the memories of hunger and cold and loneliness that had shaped her young life. There were moments when the pain was almost too much to bear, when the weight of her past threatened to crush her beneath its suffocating burden. But Nicholas was always there, his arms a safe haven, his words a soothing balm to her battered soul. Slowly but surely, Mia began to heal, to let go of the shame and self-blame that had held her captive for so long. She learned to see herself through Nicholas's eyes, to recognize the strength and beauty that lay beneath the scars of her past. And as she grew stronger and more confident, Mia began to dream of a future that had once seemed impossible, a life filled with love and laughter and the promise of better days to come. For Nicholas, the journey of fatherhood was a humbling one, a daily reminder of the awesome responsibility that lay in his hands. He had always prided himself on his strength and independence, on his ability to navigate the challenges of life with a cool head and a steady hand. But now, as he watched Mia and Lily blossom before his eyes, he realized that true strength lay not in self-reliance, but in the willingness to open one's heart to others, to lean on the love and support of those who cared for you. He marveled at the resilience of his girls, at the way they had survived the unimaginable and emerged with their spirits unbroken. And he vowed to be the father they deserved, to love them fiercely and unconditionally, to give them the safety and security that had been denied to them for so long. As the weeks turned into months, Nicholas and Mia found themselves growing closer and more united with each passing day. They faced the challenges of their new life together with grace and determination, learning to communicate openly and honestly, to support each other through the ups and downs of their journey. And through it all, they clung to the love that had brought them together, the unbreakable bond that had been forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the strength of their commitment to each other. But even as they reveled in the joys of their new life together, Nicholas and Mia knew that the shadows of the past were never far behind, that the wounds of trauma and abuse were not so easily healed. It was on a warm spring evening, as they sat together on the balcony of their penthouse, watching the sun sink behind the glittering skyline of the city, that the truth of this reality came crashing down upon them. Mia, her voice trembling with emotion, revealed a secret that she had kept hidden for so long, a memory that had haunted her every waking moment since the day she had fled her mother's house with Lily in her arms. Her mother, in a fit of drug-fueled rage, had threatened to sell Lily to the highest bidder, to use the money to feed her insatiable addiction. And Mia, barely more than a child herself, had made a decision that would change the course of their lives forever. She had taken Lily and run, disappearing into the maze of streets and alleys that had become their home, their refuge from the monsters that lurked in the shadows of their past. As Nicholas listened to her story, his heart breaking with every word, he realized the true depth of the love and sacrifice that had brought them together, the incredible courage and strength that lay beneath Mia's gentle exterior. And in that moment, he made a vow, a promise that he would spend the rest of his life keeping. He would be the father that Mia and Lily had always deserved, the protector and provider that would keep them safe from harm, the love that would guide them through the storms of life. Together, they would build a future filled with hope and possibility, a life that would be a testament to the power of love and the resilience of the human spirit. And as the stars began to emerge in the velvet sky above, Nicholas and Mia held each other close, their hearts beating as one, their love a beacon of light in the darkness of the world. As the warm, golden days of summer settled over the city, Nicholas and Mia found themselves swept up in a whirlwind of activity, their lives a blur of laughter and love and the endless possibilities of their new life together. For Mia, the long, lazy days of summer were a revelation, a chance to experience the simple joys of childhood that had been denied to her for so long. She reveled in the freedom of long walks in the park, of ice cream cones and carnival rides and the sweet, sticky tang of cotton candy on her tongue. And through it all, Nicholas was by her side, his love a constant presence, his laughter a balm to the lingering scars of her past. He taught her to swim in the cool, clear waters of the lake, to ride a bike down the winding paths of Central Park, to lose herself in the magic of a good book on a lazy afternoon. But even as they reveled in the joys of their new life together, Nicholas and Mia knew that the shadows of the past were never far behind, that the wounds of trauma and abuse were not so easily healed. It was on a stormy night in late July, as the rain lashed against the windows of their penthouse, that the ghosts of Mia's past came calling, their voices a haunting whisper in the darkness of her dreams. She woke with a start, her heart pounding, her body drenched in a cold sweat. For a moment, she was back in the cramped, squalid apartment of her childhood, the stench of alcohol and desperation thick in the air, the sound of her mother's slurred, angry voice ringing in her ears. But then, as the fog of sleep began to lift, she felt the warmth of Nicholas's arms around her, the steady beat of his heart against her cheek. And she knew that she was safe, that the monsters of her past could no longer touch her, that she was loved and cherished and protected. As she clung to him in the darkness, her tears soaking the front of his shirt, Nicholas held her close, his voice a soothing murmur in her ear. He listened as she poured out her heart, as she spoke of the fear and the pain and the loneliness that had been her constant companions for so long. And in that moment, he realized the true depth of the love that he felt for her, the fierce, unshakable devotion that would carry them through the storms of life. Over the next few weeks, Nicholas and Mia worked to confront the ghosts of their pasts, to build a foundation of love and trust that would weather the challenges of the future. They spoke openly and honestly about their fears and their hopes, their dreams and their doubts. And slowly but surely, they began to heal, to let go of the pain and the anger that had held them captive for so long. They learned to lean on each other, to find strength in their love and in the unbreakable bond that had brought them together. For Nicholas, the journey of fatherhood was a humbling one, a daily reminder of the incredible responsibility that lay in his hands. He had always prided himself on his strength and his independence, on his ability to navigate the challenges of life with a cool head and a steady hand. But now, as he watched Mia and Lily blossom before his eyes, he realized that true strength lay not in self-reliance, but in the willingness to open one's heart to others, to lean on the love and support of those who cared for you. He marveled at the resilience of his girls, at the way they had survived the unimaginable and emerged with their spirits unbroken. And he vowed to be the father they deserved, to love them fiercely and unconditionally, to give them the safety and security that had been denied to them for so long. As the summer began to fade into the cool, crisp days of autumn, Nicholas and Mia found themselves looking to the future with a new sense of hope and possibility. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be challenges and setbacks and moments of doubt and fear. But they also knew that they had each other, that their love was a fortress that could weather any storm. And so, hand in hand, they stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they were stronger together than they could ever be apart. For Mia, the journey of healing was far from over, the scars of her past still raw and tender to the touch. But with each passing day, she found herself growing stronger and more confident, her heart filled with a love and a hope that she had never known before. And as she looked to the future, she knew that she was ready to face whatever lay ahead, to build a life of purpose and meaning, to use her own struggles and triumphs to make a difference in the world. For she had learned the most precious lesson of all, that even in the darkest of times, there is always a light to guide the way, a love that can conquer all. And with Nicholas by her side, she knew that she could face anything, that their love was a beacon of hope in a world that so often seemed lost in shadow. As the leaves began to turn and the air grew crisp with the promise of autumn, Nicholas and Mia found themselves settling into a new rhythm of life, a sense of normalcy and stability that had once seemed like an impossible dream. For Mia, the start of a new school year brought with it a host of new challenges and opportunities, a chance to spread her wings and discover her passions in a way that she had never been able to before. She threw herself into her studies with a fierce determination, her quick mind and insatiable curiosity earning her the praise and admiration of her teachers and peers alike. But even as she excelled academically, Mia knew that her true calling lay beyond the walls of the classroom, in the world of art and music and dance that had always been her solace and her escape. With Nicholas's encouragement and support, she began to explore these passions in earnest, taking classes and workshops, and immersing herself in the vibrant cultural scene of the city. As she watched Mia blossom before his eyes, Nicholas couldn't help but marvel at the incredible young woman she was becoming, the strength and resilience and creativity that shone through in everything she did. He knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that there would be challenges and setbacks and moments of doubt and fear. But he also knew that Mia had the heart of a warrior, a spirit that could not be broken by the trials of life. And he vowed to be there for her every step of the way, to love and support her unconditionally, to help her build a future filled with joy and purpose and meaning. As the weeks turned into months, Nicholas and Mia found themselves growing closer and more connected with each passing day, their bond deepening in ways that neither of them had ever thought possible. They talked and laughed and dreamed together, sharing their hopes and fears and secrets in the quiet moments of the night. And through it all, they leaned on each other for strength and support, finding solace in the love and understanding that flowed between them like a never-ending stream. But even as they reveled in the joys of their new life together, Nicholas and Mia knew that the shadows of the past were never far behind, that the wounds of trauma and abuse were not so easily healed. There were moments when the memories would come flooding back, when the pain and the fear would threaten to overwhelm them once again. In those moments, they clung to each other like lifelines, anchoring themselves in the love and the trust that had brought them together. They talked and cried and held each other close, finding comfort in the warmth of each other's arms and the steady beat of each other's hearts. And slowly but surely, they began to heal, to let go of the pain and the anger that had held them captive for so long. They learned to forgive themselves and each other, to embrace the scars of their pasts as a testament to their strength and their resilience. For Nicholas, the journey of fatherhood had become a sacred calling, a mission that he embraced with every fiber of his being. He knew that he would never be able to erase the memories of Mia and Lily's past, that he could not shield them from all the hurts and the heartaches that life would bring. But he also knew that he could love them fiercely and unconditionally, that he could give them a home and a family and a future filled with hope and possibility. And so he poured his heart and his soul into being the father they deserved, the protector and the provider, and the guiding light that would lead them through the storms of life. As the first snowflakes of winter began to fall, blanketing the city in a hush of white, Nicholas and Mia found themselves looking to the future with a new sense of clarity and purpose. They knew that the road ahead would be long and winding, that there would be obstacles and challenges and moments of doubt and fear. But they also knew that they had each other, that their love was a fortress that could weather any storm. And so, hand in hand, they stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they were stronger together than they could ever be apart. For Mia, the journey of healing was far from over, the scars of her past still tender to the touch. But with each passing day, she found herself growing stronger and more confident, her heart filled with a love and a hope that she had never known before. And as she looked to the future, she knew that she was ready to face whatever lay ahead, to build a life of purpose and meaning, to use her own struggles and triumphs to make a difference in the world. For she had learned the most precious lesson of all, that even in the darkest of times there is always a light to guide the way, a love that can conquer all. And with Nicholas by her side, she knew that anything was possible, that their love was a beacon of hope in a world that so often seemed lost in shadow. As the winter snow melted into the tender green of spring, Nicholas and Mia found themselves standing on the cusp of a new beginning, a chapter in their lives that held the promise of endless possibility and boundless love. For Nicholas, the journey of the past year had been a revelation, a profound awakening to the depths of his own heart and the true meaning of family. He had started out as a man adrift, searching for purpose and connection in a world that often seemed cold and unforgiving. But in Mia and Lily, he had found something rare and precious, a love that had the power to heal even the deepest of wounds. They had taught him the true meaning of sacrifice and devotion, of the incredible strength that lies within the human spirit. And as he watched them grow and thrive under his care, he knew that he had finally found his calling, his reason for being. He was a father, a protector, a guardian of the most precious treasures in all the world. For Mia, the transformation had been no less profound. She had started out as a child lost in the shadows, her heart burdened by the weight of a past that threatened to consume her whole. But with Nicholas's love and support, she had found the courage to step into the light, to embrace the beauty and the wonder of the world around her. She had discovered a passion for art and music, for the power of creativity to heal and inspire. And she had learned to trust in the goodness of others, to open her heart to the love and the kindness that surround us all. As they stood together on the balcony of their penthouse looking out over the city that had brought them together, Nicholas and Mia knew that their journey was far from over. There would be challenges and obstacles ahead, moments of doubt and fear and uncertainty. But they also knew that they had each other, that their love was a bond that could never be broken. And so, hand in hand, they stepped forward into the future, ready to face whatever lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they were part of something greater than themselves. For they were a family, a tapestry woven of love and loss and hope and healing. They were the living proof of the incredible resilience of the human spirit, of the power of compassion to change even the darkest of lives. In the years that followed, Nicholas and Mia worked tirelessly to build a life of purpose and meaning, to use their own struggles and triumphs to make a difference in the world. They started a foundation dedicated to helping children in need, providing shelter and support, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And they watched in awe as Lily grew into a young woman of incredible grace and strength, her heart filled with the same fierce love and determination that had brought her sister and Nicholas together all those years ago. There were moments of joy and laughter, of tears and sorrow and heartache. But through it all, they held fast to the love that bound them together. to the unshakable faith that had carried them through the darkest of times. And as they looked back on the journey that had brought them to this moment, Nicholas and Mia knew that they had been blessed beyond measure, that they had found a love that would endure for all eternity. For they had each other, and they had their family. And in the end, that was all that mattered, all that would ever truly matter. As the sun set over the city that had given them so much, Nicholas and Mia held each other close, their hearts beating as one, their love a promise of forever. And they knew that whatever the future might bring, they would face it together, hand in hand, heart to heart, for they were home, in the truest sense of the word. They had found their place in the world, their reason for being, and they knew that as long as they had each other, as long as they held fast to the love that had brought them together, there was nothing they could not overcome, no dream that was beyond their reach. And so, as the stars began to glimmer in the velvet sky above, Nicholas and Mia turned towards the future, their hearts filled with gratitude and hope and the unshakable conviction that their love would light the way, now and forever.